Hi, so welcome to the video. So basically, my terms. Indirect and direct rule, that was in British East India Company, which was also in South Asia. So basically, the British East India Company included missionaries, and missionaries were a part of their ruling that the British East India Company, because they were kind of cruel to the Indians. And so then the missionaries came and they were trying to educate the Indians on how to be like a white man, because it was like a white man's burden, which I won't go into depth because I'm running out of time. And so the missionaries were trying to teach the Indians about Christianity, because that was their justification for like invading and colonizing. And so then that excludes missionaries. I'm done. British East Indian Company actually provoked the Sepoy Mutiny when they were like, yo, you guys got to use these rifles with like animal fat. But that was actually against what the Hindus were advocating, which initiated the Sepoy Mutiny. And so then the Britons were like, oh shoot. And so then British East Indian Company were canceled. Missionaries were canceled. And that provoked the indirect ruling. Yeah, hopefully it's indirect. I'm gonna have to make indirect ruling by the Raj, which were used by the Britons, and they were educated, and so then that's how they were ruling, the Britons. And so then also they were also the British East India Company were also using the Indians to go ahead and make opium, and the opium connects to the Opium Wars, and the Opium Wars were a part of the free trade. So basically the Indians were making opium that the British were forcing them to do, and then the British were taking the opium and then selling it to the Chinese because the Chinese were getting obsessed with the drug. And then the Chinese officials were like, stop selling us drugs, and the Brits were like, no. So then they tried attacking, and then the Chinese were like, no, but then the Brits were kind of winning, and so that provoked more of like, yes, an informal ruling, which is not a word, but it's yes, informal ruling. And so then that led to like, that was like free trade. I've ran out of time, so that was in China. And that also has to do with my quote. Oh my god, my quote, which is in the third paragraph of the first sentence of the John A. Hobson. It basically says it was this sudden demand for foreign markets. So this I'm running out. I don't even, okay, so foreign markets is basically what happened between India and China and Britain, because I explained to you earlier that the Britons needed to have more power, so that way they used India's peoples to go ahead and make manufacturing things, so that way they can go ahead and sell them and then like just create a bigger market and expand their country. And I'm tired of this project because I took longer than 3 minutes, unless I don't include my introduction. Yeah, okay, bye.